Let's get to some tennis, and the US Open main draw gets underway on Monday. Jannik Sinner is one of the favourites to win the last Grand Slam of the season.
Yeah, he is, but the world number one has been dealing with controversy over the court, off the court, I should say, this week. Sinner was cleared of any wrongdoing after twice testing positive for a banned substance back in March. The Italian was allowed to keep playing instead of being suspended as he successfully challenged the appeal. Well, in the last hour, Jannik Sinner has addressed the press. We can cross now to our Sky Sports commentator, Jonathan Overend, who's out in New York. Good evening to you, Jonathan. There's been so much talk about this by Jannik Sinner himself and by many other people as well. What's the latest? What can you tell us?
Well, this was the first opportunity for us to hear directly from Jannik Sinner after the controversy broke. As you say, he's just given a news conference in the last few minutes here at Flushing Meadows before starting his challenge for the US Open, where he will be the top seed. He was very calm. He answered every question in a fulsome manner and in a very calm manner. Interestingly, the USTA, the United States Tennis Association, tried to limit it to just one question, but that was very quickly dismissed, and Jannik, as I say, was very keen to take questions and answer them and give his side of the story. He made a point of saying, in my mind, I know I've done nothing wrong. He made the point that he believes he is a fair player. The preparation for this tournament has not been perfect, he said. It's been a long process, but it's a relief for himself. He's happy that the news is finally out. I think clearly that was a worry, that maybe this would drag on into this final Grand Slam of the tennis year. But he said he was pleased that it had come out, and obviously extra pleased that he's able to play the tournament.
One interesting part of this story was the reaction from other players, particularly on social media from some of them, being quite strong, hasn't it?
Yes, some have been quite outspoken. Some have talked about double standards. In this sport, tennis, there have been many anti-doping stories over the years, including players who have put forward vehement arguments of innocence in a similar way to that Jannik Sinner has. And those players, some of them, have received quite lengthy bans and quite lengthy periods of time, in some cases before they were able to reduce their bans on appeal. So there are questions that continue to be asked about this case. But Jannik Sinner has clarified in the last few minutes that he has ended his working relationship with both his fitness trainer and his physio, the two men who were responsible, he says, for the mistake. He says, because of that mistake, I'm now not that confident of continuing my working relationship with them. Now I need some clean air, he says. And specifically on the suggestion of disquiet, if you like, in the locker room, there's no different process, he says, no shortcut to his scenario compared with some of the others. He says, I know the frustration of other players, but maybe they didn't know exactly where the contamination in their cases came from. That's something Jannik Sinner was very, very vehement about in his news conference, emphasising that they knew immediately where this contamination came from, and they were able to argue that ultimately successfully to the authorities.